Hey guys, welcome back. This is episode 3 in our World of Tanks overview. I'm Enigmius, and today we're looking at the red-headed stepchild of the World of Tanks universe. This is the M3 Lee. It's a medium tank. It's an odd tank. It's kind of an awful tank, but it's a great way for us to look at some of the mechanics that you can get into if you're like getting into that kind of thing. In the previous 2 episodes in the series, we've been talking about the casual aspect of the game, how easy it is to load up the game, pick a tank, join a match, and then drive your tank around and shoot at other tanks, and it's fantastic that way. I absolutely love it. But for those who like to get into a little bit more detail, a bit more knowledge, and a bit more strategy, the opportunity to do that is also definitely there, and this tank, in being so thoroughly underwhelming, is probably the best example of how all of that comes together. Now, the significance of this tank, and the reason why I think it's so well known throughout the community, is if you want to drive American heavy tanks, you're pretty much compelled to spend some time in the M3 Lee. And in fact, if we take a look here at the tree, this is the tank that you are given when you create your account, and you spend enough time in this one to unlock the T2 medium tank, and then from there you get into the M2 medium and then the M3 Lee, and then once you've gained enough experience in the M3 Lee, you can unlock the T1 heavy and continue down the heavy line here. The only other American heavy tank is the T57 heavy up here, which would require you going through 9 tiers of medium tanks. For some people wanting to drive a heavy tank, that would be not so interesting, but it's a thing. Basically, the point is, if you want to go down this line here of heavy tanks, all 6 tiers of heavy tanks, you need to spend some time in the M3 Lee. And also it allows you to unlock the M4 Sherman, which is kind of a spiffy tank from what I've seen. From what I've seen other players do to me with their M4 Shermans, this is not a bad tank to get into. Speaking specifically to the mechanics, if you look at the different roles that you might play on the battlefield based on your tank, this tank here doesn't do any of them very well. That's the short way of putting it. If you look, it's got 3 turrets, but these top 2 turrets are just for looks. They're just for historical accuracy. You've got a little machine gun, can't fire it. You've got a larger sort of anti-unarmored vehicle gun, can't fire it. And then you've got this guy here, which you'll probably get to see when we get into a match, doesn't really move that much. If you're looking at side to side, it kind of swivels about like this. That's about as far as it goes. It's just a little bit to either side. If you want up and down movement, up you're going to get maybe something like that, and then down you're going to get maybe even less, something like that. Compared to any other medium tank that I've seen that has a turret on the top in the middle that swivels 360 degrees around, what this does is it puts you in a position where if you want to aim at a target that's more than just a few degrees to either side, you have to turn the entire tank to make it happen, which is something that you get used to doing in tank destroyers, but the payoff in a tank destroyer of having to aim that way is that you've generally got a larger gun. Pound for pound on the chassis, a tank destroyer usually has a larger gun than a medium tank. So we're having to play like a tank destroyer without the benefit of the firepower that goes along with playing a tank destroyer, which is kind of interesting. One of the things that we learned if we start getting into any kind of level of theory crafting, and just to be clear, I'm not doing like super research. This isn't intended as a guide. This is just kind of a discussion, kind of glazing over these various different things. But the game takes into account the thickness of the armor on the various different points of the tank when it's calculating whether the enemy's shot goes through and does damage or not, or whether it just bounces off harmlessly. And part of that calculation is the angle that the shot hits the armor. As an example, if we were to shoot something at the side of this tank from this angle here, that's a pretty acute angle, and it's most likely just going to bounce right off because it's you know, more being redirected than actually having an opportunity to penetrate and do damage. Versus coming along and firing dead on to this plate where it doesn't really have anywhere to bounce. It's either going to go through, it's just going to stick there and slide off kind of deal. This tank ideally is designed for catching enemy projectiles. Whereas a better engineered tank, let's just use an example here, is designed, see this front section here, how it's sloped, so anything that comes in is going to boing off like that. Or it's got these two side sections here where things more likely to bounce off to the sides. It's got a low profile on the cupola. And really, if you're looking for a dead-on hit, it's going to be right there. And this isn't even by any stretch of the imagination a fantastic example, but just compared to this mess, you get the idea. Now, not only is the armor angle kind of problematic, it's not very thick anywhere on the tank. So you kind of put yourself in a position where you don't want to be getting hit anywhere ever by anything, because it's just a no-win situation. Now, you'll see when we get into a match, I've got the tank upgraded with the upgraded chassis and the upgraded engine. Kind of expensive to upgrade the engine, but it's not a slow tank. When you first get into it, it is. It's a frustratingly slow tank sometimes because of the maneuvering that you have to do to try and keep safe and out of harm's way. So you take all of these different components and put them together and consider them against how you would decide what to do on the battlefield in any other tank. We don't have the speed of a scout. We don't have the armor of a heavier tank to allow us to kind of lead the charge or do any kind of forward support, really. We don't have the firepower of a tank destroyer, but we have the restriction in terms of how we can aim. It just puts us in a really bad spot where we've got a very limited selection of situations we can put ourselves in where we can do a good job without basically getting blown up all the time. So that, when we're talking about depth, like I say, that's by no means a comprehensive review of this tank, but it gives you an idea of some of the considerations we can get into, and the best way that we can sort of illustrate them from there is to actually hop into a battle or two and see how quickly we get blown up, or whether or not we actually survive and get into a good position and thrive. 1 second queue. Alright, so here we are on the battlefield. I think that we kind of actually want to head into town, where we'll have some buildings that we can use for cover. And we should be able to see right away just the angle of the turret. I'm just going to kind of move back and forth like this so you can see where the turret aims. And when it reaches the maximum deflection to either side is when it will start turning the tank, just so that you can see what we're talking about in terms of the small amount of turret movement that we get. See that? Now it's moving the tank because it's as far over as it'll go. That's as far as we get for the turret movement on this guy. So realistically speaking, just because sometimes I don't actually get into that position, the best position for us to be in is behind a structure that's giving us cover, peeking out the right-hand side so that only our turret is visible to enemy tanks. And then if we're lucky, we can kind of do the front and back boogaloo to keep our tanks safe and avoid some shots altogether before we get the crap kicked out of us. Now we're already coming into the danger zone, so this is kind of a not bad spot. You can see where I am now. It's sort of like I'm covered on 2/3 of my left side, and then I've got the turret sticking out where, oh, it was a hay bale. I thought it was a bunker. Ah, fuck. that was kind of funny in a sad and tragic sort of way. Now, one of the other challenges associated with trying to drive this tank is that you can see we're viewing from sort of above the tank. It's as though we've got a little UAV flying behind it, and that's our angle of view. When we switch to the sniper view, it's basically like looking down the barrel, which is quite close to the ground, and it can be really disorienting at times. Oh shit. When you thought you were lined up well with the target to get a clean shot, and all of a sudden it's behind a hill. So here we go again. We're going to try this. There was a heavy and a medium over here. And see how we're set up again? Hopefully just the turret is peeking around the corner. They're fighting over there. I have this... There he is. I knew it, see? And he's shooting at me.
Enemy armor is hit.
Oh, he got me. We're sinking. We're sinking. Oh, wait. We don't sink in tanks. See, I can't see. He's behind that rock. And he's afraid of me. Because that's why he keeps like that with the dancing. Oh, see? We got a bounce off the building. And now he's just like, fuck it. I'm going. I give up. I'm not fighting you here now. I gotta watch my minimap because anybody comes at me from this side, I'm a goner. The heavy is there. He's beating up that light tank, I think. Yeah, he's totally given up on us. So, oh, there's a medium. There we go. So I think that would qualify as a pretty good example of how not to survive in this tank. It happens sometimes like that. As I was reversing to try and present a moving target, I was also trying to turn and orient so that I could get a shot on the guy and at least make him think twice about just sitting there pew-pewing at me. But he had me in the worst possible spot, aside from shooting me directly up the ass, which was the side, because this tank just kind of crumples when you shoot at its side. It's like a tin can. You can flick the side of a tin can and make a big dent. Top and bottom, not so much. So this time, we're going to kind of roll with the troops here. We got a heavy up in the lead. We've got a couple of mediums and a couple of lights, and then we've got me. I should get... The M3 Lee should have its own icon. I don't know what that icon might be. Maybe a marshmallow or something. But and of course, it's driving school day. The light tank is not understanding the idea of go around so that you can move faster. That's just an extremely obnoxious way of going about things. Pop a guy's tracks so that you can hide behind him like a pansy. It's not very nice. It's just, it's poor tank etiquette, I think. And we all know that tankers were known throughout history for being some of the most polite and socially adapted people ever. Just ever. That's their thing. So I'm deliberately going out of my way to... See, I'm safe on my right side. Oh, for fuck's sakes.
We've lost a track.
We lost a track. We've got a heavy and a medium.
Bail out. This vehicle has had it.
Just like that. See, I was safe on the right-hand side is what I was about to say. And I had all these rocks that we were passing by and trees, keeping me safe from, you know, if I was spotted by enemy artillery, I'd have less chance of getting blasted. And then I pulled out into the open, and the medium busted my tracks, and that was game over. So since that last match lasted like 5 seconds, we'll do one more. And this time we're going to head kind of north and then west along the northern edge of the map and then down. We're not avoiding the fight for the sake of hopefully just nobody noticing us until the end of the match and winning like so many people do. Had to get that little shot in there. We're trying to position ourselves where we can kind of make a contribution, because we can't take hits, and we're sure as hell not dishing out many hits of our own. Dickhead can't drive. I gave you a couple seconds to move, and he's just, okay, oh, now that I'm gonna hit somebody, I'm gonna go forward. Just, you wonder why the world is going to hell. It's because people just don't think. See, this very, very aggressive hill that we're climbing. This guy, he's ramming my tracks because that's what he does. Track rammer, I think is his name. I didn't get a close look at it. We're trying to position ourselves where we can make a contribution, and sometimes that means sneaking around to the flanks and catching our targets unaware if we can. We're not looking to park somewhere and snipe, because that's just about as effective as getting blown up right away at the beginning of a match. But at the same time, we have to try and be a little bit smart about what we're doing, because if we keep just going in head first and getting blown up and getting mad about it, well, we're kind of creating our own misery. Now you can see coming around the corner, we've got a light tank, did a nice job of exposing an artillery unit, and a light tank, an enemy light tank, which will basically be blown up before we even get there, because we're not very fast. See, now we've got a choice. We can hook back down towards the battlefield with these guys, or we can continue around and not. See, before we even train our gun on the enemy, they're blown up because we're just too damn slow. I can't hit that guy, I don't think. No, he disappeared. We can maybe... Oh, danger. There he is. He's a ways away. I don't think we're hitting him. But we can terrify him. Ah, that's right. We can't kill you, but we can make you poop yourself. That's our motto in this tank. These guys have pretty good cover, and with the trees in the way, it's kind of hard to tell whether they're behind cover or we're just not catching the bits that are exposed. So we got a medium over there to see where there's a light. See what I mean? It looks like we've got a great angle on him from here until we switch to sniper mode, and all of a sudden he's behind the hill. Damn it. So we're going to push on in here. We're a little over halfway to the enemy base.
Penetration.
Oh, I almost shot one of ours. That's how we do. It's like, oops, didn't mean to. Sometimes I get this thing in my head when our guy and an enemy guy, they get into a little bit of a ramming competition. They start swapping a little bit of paint. But it goes beyond the point where it's useful or necessary, and it's just like they're belly bumping one another that I just feel like shooting both of them. Because sometimes entertainment is okay. It's not a nice thing to say, but sometimes you do get in that mood where a little bit of entertainment is more important than sportsmanship. I said it. I said it. You can just quote me on it. One in the litany of reasons why I'm a horrible person. You've all thought it. I'm not the only one. So now we've got... is that artillery? Yeah, they've got an artillery unit still out there. And he's raining stuff down on our guys in the enemy's base. So there's a tank destroyer around this corner. And we won one. And for hitting a single... Actually, no, I hit two. I penetrated him twice, and that guy once. And I killed his I injured his radio operator. His radio operator has a sprained thumb now on account of me. So that's the M3 Lee playing in a more strategic way, trying to leverage our tank's handful of strengths to our benefit, not very successfully, trying to take on a normal role in a war group, not at all successfully, and then just running around and shooting at people and having a great time. So take that for what you will. Next episode is probably going to be mostly a montage, kind of a greatest hits of some of the matches that I get into with my various different tanks, doing different things, having a lot of fun. And if we get around to the point where I know enough to do like a guide, a little bit of a guide on a little bit of something, then I'll do that or something. So I hope you enjoyed this 3-part overview, now becoming a highlights series. If you want to try out the game, if you haven't tried it before, and support my channel at the same time, there's a link that you can click in the information section. It will take you to a page where you can sign up for your free account, download the client, and play for free. If you have any comments or feedback, you can leave them below the video. If you want to be notified when I add the next video, you can subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Twitter at Enigmius1 and Google++ Enigmius1. As always, thanks very much for watching, guys, and take care.